Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're jumping right into a cinematic, real-life investigative mystery, and it's one that is quite literally carved out of solid mountain. We're going to explore a prehistoric engineering puzzle born from the volcanic basalt of the Deccan traps millions of years ago, and later shaped by master craftsmen in ancient India. This is really a story of architectural forensics, where the clues aren't left in ink on paper, but hewn directly into the earth itself. So here is the big hook for our investigation. Picture this. You've got two colossal rock-cut temple complexes. One of them is located on an island, Elephanta, or Garapuri, right out in the Mumbai harbor. The other is nestled deep inland, hundreds of miles away in the Sambhaji Nagar district of Maharashtra. Separated by that kind of vast geographical distance, you'd naturally expect their designs to be completely independent of one another. Yet, as we're about to uncover, they are virtual twins. How on earth did ancient engineers manage to perfectly replicate such incredibly complex, monolithic structures across such a vast expanse? Let's kick things off with part one, the rock-cut twins, Elephanta and Ellora. Okay, let's set the baseline here. On one hand, we've got Cave 1 at Elephanta, often called the Great Cave. This thing measures about 39 meters deep and was carved straight out of the solid basalt rock of the Deccan Trap Formation. Then, on the flip side, we have Cave 29 at Ellora, widely known as Dhumar Lena. Now, what really sets these two apart from all the other caves in their respective regions is that they share an unmistakable, highly specific architectural signature. They aren't just kind of similar in style, they are structural echoes of one another. They are virtual twins that completely defy their geographical isolation. Which leads us right into Section 2, unlocking the mandala blueprint and the cosmic geometry behind it all. When you look closely at the underlying blueprint of Elephanta Cave 1, you realize the interior of the main cave isn't just some randomly hollowed-out cavern. It actually follows a remarkably strict, overarching geometric configuration. It's a perfectly symmetrical layout built around a square, which is then made up of 5x5 smaller square bays. It features these triple bayed extensions on four sides, with each individual bay measuring right around 5.5 meters square. When you add all of that up, you get a highly deliberate arrangement of exactly 36 bays. And listen, this wasn't just some arbitrary architectural choice. It was deeply cosmic. This specific blueprint corresponds directly to the concept of a mandala. In Hindu temple architecture, a mandala is basically a geometric configuration that represents the entire universe. It dictates the spatial planning and plays an absolutely essential role in sacred design. Just try to imagine the sheer level of calculation required to map this perfect cosmic grid onto the chaotic, uneven face of a solid basalt cliff and then flawlessly excavate it. And here's where the forensic data gets absolutely undeniable. When we take that massive mandala blueprint from Elephanta and overlay it onto Ellora's Cave 29, Dhumar Lena, boom, we find an identical match. Both caves utilize this highly unusual cross-shaped floor plan. They both feature three separate entrances whose axes cross each other perfectly to create this exact cruciform layout. That shared, exceptionally rare geometric mandala alignment, it proves without a doubt that the builders of both sites were working from the exact same master architectural playbook. But that master blueprint created a massive headache, bringing us to Section 3, the dual-axis engineering challenge, and solving the sightline. So, utilizing this cruciform blueprint actually introduces a huge structural hurdle for the engineers. Because there are entrances on three sides, you end up with two completely distinct intersecting axes of movement inside the cave. One axis links the eastern and western entrances together. The other axis runs from the northern entrance straight through to the southern wall. At Elephanta, walking along these two axes offers very different experiences. The east-west axis is designed to lead you to the Linga sanctuary, while the north-south axis culminates in the spectacular relief sculpture of the multi-headed Sadashiva. But here's the catch. If you just drop a giant sanctuary right in the exact middle where those axes cross, you completely block the sightlines. So how did they fix it? That brings us to Section 4, the off-center sanctuary, or the Garbhagriha anomaly. Let's walk through their brilliant engineering workaround. Normally, in a square temple hall like this, the sanctuary, the Garbhagriha, is placed dead in the middle. It's the focal point. But to preserve that stunning north-south visual approach to the relief sculptures, the ancient engineers did something totally radical. They shifted the massive Chaturmukha, or four-faced Linga shrine, completely out of the center, sliding it off to the side along the east-west axis. Now, if you know Hindu temple architecture, you know an off-center sanctuary is an extreme anomaly. It's almost unheard of, and yet we see this exact same architectural innovation, this highly deliberate displacement of the shrine in both Elephanta Cave 1 and Ellora Cave 29. The sanctuary in Dhumar Lena isn't in the center, it isn't in the rear, it's in that exact same unusual location as Elephanta. That tells us right there, this wasn't a mistake made by some tired stonecutters. It was a highly specific, shared engineering signature used specifically to maintain those majestic internal sightlines. Let's zoom in even closer for Section 5, decoding the pillar anatomy, getting into the micro-detail evidence. We've covered the macro blueprints, so now let's look at the micro-forensics of the load-bearing columns. The sheer level of replication in this stone here is incredible. These columns are carved directly out of the mountain itself to hold up the colossal weight of the rock roof above. And when you compare the pillars at Elephanta side by side with the pillars at Ellora Cave 29, the anatomy is literally identical, down to the very finest carved details. The structural DNA here is a perfect match. Both sites feature pillars that start with these plain, massive cubical lower shafts. Then, as your eye moves up, this transitions really elegantly into fluted, circular upper shafts. Finally, topping off the columns are these highly distinct compressed cushion capitals, supporting brackets with beautifully rolled sides. This level of stylistic consistency mimics timber construction perfectly, yet it's executed flawlessly in unyielding volcanic basalt at both of these isolated locations. Which all ties together in Section 6, the Rashtrakuta Imperial Guild, unmasking the masterminds. So who actually pulled off this ancient twin engineering feat? Who had the resources and the skill? Well, all the evidence points straight toward the influence of a monumental political power that dominated the Deccan plateau, the Rashtrakuta dynasty. Peaking between the 8th and 10th centuries CE, the Rashtrakutas were exceptional patrons of art and architecture. You probably know them best for their staggering rock-cut monuments, like the breathtaking Colossal temple at Ellora, which was famously carved top-down from a single mountain. And architectural historians definitely back this up. The consensus is that the astonishing similarity in both the layout and the sculptural execution between the main cave at Elephanta and Dhumar Lena at Ellora strongly suggests the overarching influence of Rashtrakuta art. Their imperial guild of highly advanced artisans seemingly carry these master blueprints across the entire region, executing them time and time again with just absolute astonishing precision. So, here is the absolute crucial takeaway. From the sweeping geometric mandalas and the brilliant off-center sanctuaries, right down to the microscopic fluting on the cushioned capitals, Elephanta Cave 1 and Ellora Cave 29 are undeniable architectural twins. They stand as a permanent, stone-carved testament to the centralized power and the truly unparalleled engineering genius of the Rashtrakuta era. These weren't just isolated, one-off artistic endeavors, they were standardized imperial blueprints deployed to conquer the solid basalt of India. It honestly just leaves you marveling at the sheer scale of ancient Indian engineering. I mean, if this single, highly advanced guild could perfectly replicate a cosmic architectural blueprint across hundreds of miles of unyielding rock, you really have to wonder, what other master blueprints did they leave hidden, just waiting to be decoded in the deep basalt cliffs of India? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity to look a little closer at the silent, stone-carved histories all around us.